Hi, I'm Malin, your mystical science nerd, exploring life freely with depth and figuring it out as I go.
And I'm Jordan, your storyteller trying to make a difference, find myself in motherhood, and raise two fiery daughters who teach me something every day.
Together, we're two Leo moons, proof that there is no one way to be a powerful woman.
Because women contain multitudes, and we're here for all of it. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Well, welcome to episode 1 of Two Leo Moons. We are super excited about this project.
I know, we've been talking about this for a while, and it actually made it out of the group chat.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of in some ways it happened really quickly.
Yeah.
But in other ways, I'm I feel like I've been waiting forever for this moment to be here.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about should we talk about why
Yeah.
we did this?
Yeah, you start.
Yeah. So I feel like it's been one hell of a year. It's been a year. And I feel like I have been on this precipice of there's something I am meant to do. There's something else. There's a space I'm supposed to be in. And when I was really struggling with that, I got coffee with you one day because you're such a it's you can put everything in line for me. And that did come from that meeting, but it was after coffee together when I was feeling really inspired, which is naturally how I feel around you. And I was oh my God. And I texted you, I was oh my God, are we going to start a podcast?
Is this a thing?
And from that moment on, it just
yeah,
it feels it lives yes,
yeah,
we are. That's what it felt like.
100%. I remember that coffee super well. Every single time I'm around you and I have a conversation with you, I feel full and I feel valued and I feel inspired, like you said. And so it just was abundantly clear to me after we kind of did the, are we going to do it?
Yeah.
That yes, we are,
Yeah.
because that's who we are. And I love that through this project, we get to continue to have those conversations and continue to be ourselves and uplift each other.
So this brings us into talking about the next segment that we want to have in each of our episodes. Jordan and I want to make time for a vibe check, actually a couple vibe checks.
Yeah.
And as Leo moons, we both bring a lot of warmth, encouragement, and heart to everything we do. But one of the things I love, and that we've kind of talked about already, that I love so much about us is the way in which we do that looks pretty different, or even it's the area of our knowledge and expertise and how we each navigate life.
Yes.
That's what's different.
Yes, exactly.
And through sharing these perspectives with each other, I think we've really grown and empowered each other through very different lenses. So yeah, we've found a lot of growth and empowerment through sharing these perspectives with one another. And that's something that I think we want to bring to this space, is both of these parts of self exist within each of us. And mine is a little more self-help, astrology, spicy psychology. I will be sharing what's going on astrologically as a way for people to check in with themselves.
Nice.
And Jordan will be sharing the political landscape as a way to make informed, it's an informed way to engage in community.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we believe there has to be a balance between how we show up for yourself and how you show up for other people. And I love, again, this duality that you and I have going on, which is polar, but also really well balanced.
And very connected too. I think you have to understand the self and how you show up and how you take care of yourself in order to have impact in community and in the broader collective. So it's not exclusive. They're very connected. And I hope that the way that we talk about it, people can see that we're all a part of a bigger ecosystem, but each individual brings something different.
I don't consider myself an astrologer, but I use astrology prevalently in my journaling, self-work, healing, therapy. It provides a structure for me that I have found really, really helpful. So I consider myself a student who's still learning a lot about it. And it's the more I learn, the more I'm there's more to know. It's one of those. But I don't know. I do have people who does it make me an astrologer if my friends come to me and they're like, what's going on? And I'm like, this is going on. And they leave feeling better. Like, is that?
I mean, like, I think so. And I think that your willingness to accept that there's stuff that you don't know makes you a better astrologer. Like that idea that there's so much to learn, but your practical application is so good that I'm like, of course.
And maybe that's it too, is I feel like I don't identify as an astrologer because the truth is that I will not tell you astrology is real.
Right.
Like, I don't know if astrology is real. Maybe it's not, but it like the way that I use it, it doesn't matter.
Because it's real to us.
Yeah, and it's an archetype. I'm very obsessed with archetypes right now, very Jungian exploration of life, but like, the narrative and the story, it is a way to process information.
Absolutely.
It is a way to process your experience. And sometimes you just need that. And so that's the angle I'm coming from. That's kind of how I want to bring it to this space. While I can't say it's real, I, through my own self-work, have found that it's like a really great framework. And yes, along the way, I have had some moments where I'm like, is this real? Like, is this what? Excuse me, Mercury, but it's a sense of connection when you're like, this feels bigger than just me.
Yeah.
Like, this feels like divine intervention. Is there a higher power? What is quantum physics doing to the cells in my body? Like, it's beyond coincidence. Those are the moments where I'm like, I don't know if it's real, but like, it might be real. So, at the very least, this is, a place that you can reflect and do something that helps you grow as a person. And at the most, I think it's a way to like bring magic back into your life. Yeah. I love romanticizing life. That is probably the Pisces in
Whimsy.
Me. Yes. And you know what? If I want to have some magic in my life, like, then I'm going to,
As you should.
Yeah. Okay, so getting into it. We are in Capricorn season. So that means that the sun is in Capricorn.
Okay.
And the energy that someone might be feeling during this season is like responsibility, structure, discipline, ambition.
Ooh.
Like, so those are all like elements that you might be like sensing at this time, which I kind of think is interesting because I don't want to get too into it this episode, but I'm not a huge fan of New Year, New You.
Same.
I hate it.
Same.
And I think it's interesting because Capricorn energy kind of does match that.
Right.
It's like, what am I going to create? What am I going to do? How am I going to make that happen? I'm a big fan of living more in line with nature, and I used to get the post-Christmas blues hard.
Yeah.
Like, I really used to struggle with January until I started accepting that is a better time for rest and reflection. So in general, I would normally advise people to take that energy of the structure and responsibility, and it doesn't mean go work out every day for an hour. It means like reflect on it. Think about how you want that energy to show up for the rest of the year. You don't have to do anything yet. Use this time of year to hibernate, hole up.
Yeah.
It's a very like introverted time of year, which is an important part, whether you're extroverted or not, to have time and space for yourself to process and kind of reemerge.
Right.
However, when this podcast is hopefully released, we have something really interesting going on astrologically, and that is that so Venus and Mars will be conjunct the sun in Capricorn.
Okay.
And what this
I'm following.
Are we? Yeah, I'm going to try and do my best because like I said, it's when I start trying to explain it, I'm like, oh, it's so layered. But I think that this is interesting because Venus is the sign of love, pleasure, and people normally say relationships, but there's so many different parts, right? And the part we're talking about is connection or like the bond, okay? That planet is going to be in Capricorn with the sun. Okay. And the aspect is called a conjunction. So it's like that energy is amplified. So the planet of love and relationships is being amplified with the sun, which as a planet is identity. with Mars, which is the planet of action, conflict, motivation. It's like drive. So all three of them are gathering very, very closely together, and the energies are kind of all playing off of each other.
Wow.
Yeah. So that is like, maybe now's not the time for rest. Like maybe I'm feeling more motivated to act than I normally am.
I mean, my partner is a Capricorn, so.
I mean, yeah, I know.
We don't have to get into that yet.
So I think like a good thing for people to do with this energy, if you're experiencing this at this time, if this speaks to you, if there are words that I'm saying that you're like, why am I stuck on that? Like, why am I stuck on structure? You know, I explore that. And, you know, every therapist is going to tell you to journal. I could not journal until I started using astrology and tarot. And I think it's because it provided the structure I needed to like let it flow. So if we take this aspect of all three of these planets being in the sign of Capricorn, I would take that as a time in my life to reflect on, how do I feel about discipline in my life? How do I feel about my commitments, whether that's in my relationships, personal, professional, to myself? What needs more structure in my life? Like, those are really good things to explore. But besides that, to add another layer, just to, you know, make it even more complex, this energy is opposing Jupiter in Cancer. And that is going to create some tension between, so like you are a Virgo and I'm a Pisces, and that's a polar, right? Like it can work really beautifully together, but it can also create tension. That's how it is with Capricorn and Cancer. Cancer is your emotional world, and Capricorn is like your I'm getting it done world. And so with this angle happening, that's going to bring tension between like your responsibilities and your emotions. So people will probably be looking for balance between discipline and self-care, and then ambition versus your emotional well-being.
Oh.
Yeah. So I feel like that's gonna be heavy.
Yeah, and especially at a time where like societally we're so driven to make these big changes and these big announcements and these big things that we're going to be doing in the new year. It's going to put a lot of pressure on people.
Yeah.
And it will probably be really heavy to navigate.
Yeah. And I think it's helpful to know that heaviness maybe, who knows, might be coming from some energy that we're feeling cosmically. And that makes me feel safer in being like, I'm having these feelings and that's okay. I'm going to consider them, reflect on them, and process them in a way that's not like doom, you know, not hopefully not anxiety. I can't guarantee that. I'm an anxious person, but what you bring up is great too, because this is what's going on for everyone.
Yes.
Everyone's going to experience it differently, but the collective is experiencing this energy. And so that is a great segue into what you're going to talk about, because when you're talking about responsibility, structure, discipline, and then the emotions and individual people, I think like it's going to be a weird time to watch what's happening in our government. With that, take it away, Jordan.
Okay.
Please help us out with navigating the political landscape right now.
I can't help. Just kidding.
We can do what we can together.
Exactly. And, you know, very similar, just to like level set a little bit. With the political vibe check, I want to create a space where, you know, we can exist as human beings in a very chaotic world. And, you know, we're recording this in the United States. I will do my best to acknowledge, you know, international conflict and things that are happening internationally, but just like speaking from strictly like my personal experience is going to be dealing mostly with what's happening in the US. And it's not good. So you know, just to be like straight up and honest right now, things don't feel good. In fact, things feel very bad and very scary. It kind of feels like the world is on fire sometimes. So I don't feel comfortable continuing with this segment without acknowledging like things are hard and dangerous for a lot of people right now. And I'm speaking from a very privileged position as a white woman. And so I hope that you feel empowered. You know? And so right now, specifically, I think about what we are faced with every day, and how we live on our little phones and our little screens, and those little screens are full of war and genocide happening right in front of our eyes. That is incredibly upsetting to your nervous system, to your like existence as a person that's wired for community and empathy. And these things are being destroyed. People are being killed or kidnapped in our streets. Our democracy feels incredibly fragile. The systems that we were taught that protect us are not protecting us. They're working against us. So I have to name the bad actors here, the billionaires, the big corporations, the politicians that prioritize profits over the people that they represent. There's a reason that we have come to this point, and it is because they have intentionally built these structures to oppress us and to keep us down, in particular, marginalized communities. And so if you take anything from this segment, I hope it is that you have power. You have the power to enact change, and we are more powerful when we are together. That doesn't mean you shouldn't feel angry. That doesn't mean you shouldn't feel scared. It is okay to feel those things because it means you are aware. It means you are awake to the things that are happening around you. But take those feelings and turn them into action. Take that grief and turn that into action. And there are so many ways to do it. And I think some of those ways are more accessible and are honestly simpler than it's made out to, it's perceived. It doesn't mean you have to go to every march. Marching is great. You should go, but sometimes it's dangerous for folks. I didn't go out to a No Kings March because I have 2 young kids, and I had to make the decision that for me, it was about staying home and doing art with them about power and talking to them about their own power. And that was my way of protesting that day. And if that's something similar to what you need to do right now, that is great. There are so many ways that we can take back that power and that we can be in community and empower one another in a time where we are meant to feel powerless. And so my advice now is that if this is resonating with you, I would like for you to have a conversation with somebody. Start to rekindle or make a new connection. The first conversation that you have doesn't have to be about Trump. That can be incredibly polarizing and triggering.
Yeah, and I feel like you're not necessarily saying like go out and find someone who disagrees with you and change their mind.
No.
That you're talking about connecting.
Yes, simply connecting as people, building our own networks within our communities so that we can better care for one another. It's more than just like, let's organize and knock on doors for this particular progressive candidate. It is, let's organize and be in community so that if there is another natural disaster brought on by the climate crisis, we can form a community food pantry and make sure people that are impacted have food. Or we can pull together a little GoFundMe for the military family who's not being paid right now during a government shutdown. There's so many ways to encourage mutual aid and to be there for one another. That's like different from, I think, what you traditionally consider action, like protests or petitions, etc. But those are great ways to get involved too. There are, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to add to that because, oh my gosh, there's just so much. One, I think that's what this space is. Yeah. And it's maybe right now, just listening to our podcast, which we would be so honored, is where you start that. And we want this to turn into community. We want this to turn into, that is exactly the energy. It's like, I do believe that when women especially, but all are welcome. When women come together, man, there is power in that. And like when you start to share with one another, but that is like what this was born from was like, I could feel it in my bones that I needed to create some kind of community. And I didn't know what that looked like or how to do it. And I'm really excited to explore this. And I'll never forget this moment. It was with 2 other girls, who I've been dancing with regularly, and we were all 3 in not a good headspace, even after dance class, really struggling with where we were in our lives. And something that came up was, actually I did share astrology stuff with them, that they were like, that makes me feel better. See? So that's my gift to the world then, is like astrology 101 to like help take the burden off. But no, more than that is like, we talked about the price of groceries and how it was causing stress in my life I'm not rich by any means. I'm not even comfortable. I'm like living on the edge. And so was everyone else. And I brought this up and I was like, I'm stressed out about how I'm going to like afford to feed myself. I don't even have a family. And the one girl was like, you should learn how to make, she's Mexican. And it was like beans and rice, but like beans done her way. And she was like, they freeze really well. They're cheap to make. Call me, girl. I'll give you the recipe. I'll come over and help you. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
And then the other girl said, hey, have you checked out this market? It sounds kind of like a co-op.
Yeah.
That's downtown. And she's like, I got all of my produce for the week for $30. And I was like, okay.
That is community.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like I was like, I came in stressed, alone, isolated. Even getting up out of my house, going and dancing for joy didn't bring me enough of what I needed. But just having the conversation of being vulnerable, first of all, and saying, I'm poor and I am having trouble feeding myself, or I'm having trouble thinking about that I might get to that point.
Yeah.
I felt so good afterward that they were like, hey, I have a great recipe to share. Hey, there's this place downtown. You should check it. I mean, I was like, this is what it is. This is what I need more of. This is what other people need more of in their life. So I love that.
The resource sharing is invaluable. Like, honestly, at its core, like, community is like anti-capitalist in a way, because what they did is not just teach you how to operate inside of a broken system, but to step outside of it and find solutions that go against the norm. I appreciate that you share that story so much, because it also gets to my point of like, women have always been at the core, always, of radical social movements, especially women of color, through the civil rights movement, reproductive rights, women's suffrage. Like, we have, from our kitchens, from our living rooms, from our neighborhood streets, from the parking lots of dance classes, had the conversations and started the conversations that make change. And so, yeah, here we are on our podcast, and it feels joyful and it feels good.
Chill.
And it's radical, you know, and it is like, fight the man, and it is like, and it can be all of those things at the same time. And so
it is all of those things at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to continue talking about politics and our current political landscape, and to offer ways for folks to get more involved. Starting here is a great start. Be in community with us. Be in community with the people that are around you. We welcome you. We want you here. Not turning off is so important. And finding the balance between taking care of yourself and staying aware is so important. If you have to take a break, take a break. You cannot lead a movement or participate in a movement if you are operating from an empty cup. And we cannot be intentionally naive to what is happening around us, especially as white women, especially as people with privilege. So stay tuned. There's going to be so much more to share. We've got primary season coming up in U.S. politics, so we're going to get a little bit into that. And yeah, it's my job and it's my joy.
Yes, I
so
love
I'm excited
it.
to get to bring that here.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Jordan.
That's a cheers. I'm politics Barbie.
Ooh, oh my gosh, my astrology Barbie.
You're astrology Barbie. Oh my God.
I need to be like in my most mystical, whimsical, like dress with like celestial suns and moons.
For sure.
But like at the end of the day, like I think I turn away from that because it's not all of me.
Right.
You know, like I'm like, don't box me.
We contain
but also
multitudes.
see me. Yes.
Yes.
We contain multitudes.
Yes. So the idea now is that since we've kind of laid the context and figured out like where we are in the stars and kind of what's going on in the world and politically, we talk about what's going on with us, because we are showing up as two very different people. As we've established, we have very different lives that are connected, and we just want to make sure that like our listeners can hear the perspectives of two very different women in two like very different places in our lives, and how those are beautiful places and they're different places. And so I'm going to give a scoop on family life, and you're going to give a single scoop.
Single scoop, single life. Yeah, and I think too, I just want to say that I love, again, duality, synastry, balance, that there's like single life, I'm unmarried, I'm no kids, and then you are married with kids, and yet those are still just two perspectives.
Yes.
So like
Oh my
that
God,
is what
yes.
we are going to share. That's what we have
The scoop on.
the capacity to share.
Yeah.
I'm not going to share on something I'm not familiar with or I'm not coming from because that's inauthentic to me. But I want to acknowledge, like, y'all are going to have some scoop. And I just think this is a way to kind of celebrate and acknowledge that, like, sometimes jealousy is the wrong word.
Right.
But there is like desire, and we are taught that there's a way to live your life. And you said this beautifully earlier. So if you want to.
I can try. What is said over pumpkin pancakes is often difficult to replicate. We're taught that our lives are linear and that there are certain steps that we take in order to achieve this ultimate goal of womanhood, marriage and children. And then it kind of ends there. And I think for many women, not all women, we find at some point that this linear trajectory is disrupted or broken down entirely. And that is a very jarring experience. And I think you and I have navigated together the different ways that our timelines were disrupted. And now we're both trying to joyfully live in what is actually like a very non-linear existence.
Yes. And I love being a mirror. That's what we are. I think we're a mirror for each other to like see what we have.
Yeah.
And so we want to be a mirror for others. And again, these are two ways to live your life. Everyone is having their own, it's like a celebration in your own journey.
Yeah.
But using community and each other to see it.
Yes. Storytelling. Like building community through storytelling. It's like the most ancient form of art, you know, the spoken word. And I think that, like you said, we are sharing with one another two specific experiences. And I love hearing you talk about where you are. And I love hearing you talk about where I am too, because you're saying all, you know, you're talking about how you are perceiving my experience as a mother. And I'm like, God, that sounds great. That's so special. When, you know, 4 hours ago, I was up at 5:30 in the morning with my kids wondering why in the world they can't sleep through the night. And so it's like, it's such an honor to have a friend that you can be honest with and that you can like achieve this level of like sharing and vulnerability with, because like what you see is what you get, and then the stories that we share add so much color.
For my single scoop, by no means am I going to say this part of my life has been easy, but it has definitely been forced like recognition of like, I'm going to be intentional. I'm going to be intentional about being single. I'm going to be intentional about finding the joy in my life. And I have been in relationships pretty much my entire adult life. I was not a serial monogamist. I've just had 2 long-term relationships and not a ton of time between them. And so I'm trying very much to be like, I need to experience this part of my life.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm saying that is because my like single scoop, and this is like, it's joy that I'm experiencing, and also maybe advice, tips, things I'm learning. The best thing that I have done, even though Jordan knows it's not been great the whole time, is that I got a dog. So I've always grown up with dogs. I've always had dogs, and I lost my soul dog like 8 years ago. It's been a long time since I had like my dog. She was very, very special to me, but I was very hesitant and had other things going on in my life where it was like, now is not the time for a dog. And I still felt that way. Like I was not like, I'm going to get a dog and it's the perfect time. I just felt like it's time. Yeah. And I think the right dog found me at the right time. And she is a puppy, which I honestly never think is a good idea. Like, unless you are retired with a house and access to outside and ready to pay for all kinds of damages, like puppies are really, really hard. But having this dog in my life, she's only been with me for 7 weeks, I think now. And in that 7 weeks, I have met more people and expanded my community more than I have in the past year and a half.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I mean, it really is like, I've lived in this space for that long, and only since meeting her, I have met half of the people in my building.
Oh my gosh.
I have started going to the dog park and been welcomed by this community. I mean, I'm just like blown away by how kind they are, and people want to talk to you. I also have a pretty cute dog. So she is, people approach me about her.
Yeah.
You know, that didn't, my other dog, that didn't always happen. I think she had a tough exterior, which I was okay with. I was a young girl in my 20s, and I did not want to be approached by people. I'm in a place in my life where I want to be approached by people, and she's doing it for me. I mean, I've met people, I've got numbers, I have people I meet up with. You know, I'm not ready to date, but she pongoed me.
Oh my gosh, I know the reference.
Yeah, she pongoed me at a gathering in a very social place because she's terrible on a leash. And I just share this because it's such a funny story, but she's terrible on a leash, and she wrapped around a man and pulled us together, uncomfortably so. And I'm just not, like, again, intentional single life right now, which is great. I think that's a good thing. But if I had been in a different time and place in my life, I could have turned that into something, you know?
And then he could have pongoed you. You know what I'm saying?
He could, yeah. You know, yeah, it could have. It was just a pretty forced way of meeting someone. I don't think my energy was open to that, but my friend saw this happen, and she was like, well, that'll get you laid. And
That's
I was
amazing.
like, yeah. So anyway, I feel like having her, she has expanded my world. She has expanded my community.
Yeah.
It is an easy way to talk to someone. It's an easy way to connect with people. Dogs, I mean, they are a gift. Honestly, like, they are so special in our lives. Big fan of animals. I am a cat girl. Like, I have my cats and I love my cats, but the dog has been my puppy has been what has, like, expanded my community. And so I'm like, thank God I did this. It is worth the chaos. It is worth the frustration.
Nice.
It is worth the, like, someday she's gonna, like, not wreak so much havoc.
Yeah.
But every time I meet someone new, or I, like, get to talk to someone who I live next to, I'm like, oh, this is so great. This is so great. So I love that.
That's like the richest single scoop of wonderful deliciousness I've ever heard. And honestly, it kind of got me thinking about my kids in a way, and how, like, when you go to not a dog park, but like a kid park, what you talk about to other parents is your children. How old are they? Where do you guys go to school? What are they interested in right now? And I didn't think about a dog being like a similar connector, because I'm not a dog owner right now. And I just, like, was not expecting you to go there. And I'm so glad that you went there. That is so cool. And I'm so happy for you.
Thanks.
That that's been your experience.
Yeah. I would highly recommend, if you are in a place in your life where maybe you've moved to a new city, or you're learning how to be on your own. If you have, I do think it's important to have the resources to properly care for yourself and for the animal. But if that is an option for you, it is such a great way to, like, it's like a buffer to social awkwardness.
That's cool.
It, like, removes this barrier that people have. And I have the barrier, and other people have the barrier. And then you put a cute dog in the middle, and everyone's like, cute dog, let's talk. So, yeah.
Cute dog, let's talk. The family scoop, the double scoop, whatever we're going to call it. I have 2 young daughters, 5 and under. I am married to a wonderful Capricorn. And my life right now is a lot of teaching and a lot of learning. And so the last 5.5 years, if not a little bit more, because, like, pregnancy is a journey in and of itself, has been about acceptance, about the grief of, like, the 20s that I thought I was going to have, that my partner and I thought we were going to have. And now navigating, we're done having kids, and I'm left with this question of, like, who am I amidst all of this? Like, when I introduce myself, I say, I'm Jordan, I'm a mom, I have 2 kids, I'm more than that. And I get to explore that alongside my kids and my partner. So that's, like, kind of how I'm showing up with this. I am not a, like, motherhood is all joy and sprinkles kind of mom. I am a motherhood is an uphill battle to be better than you were yesterday.
And yeah, to accept yourself for where you
and
are.
accept yourself for where you are,
Yeah.
and to love yourself so that you can love your children better. Parenthood is much more work on you than it is like working on your kids. And that has been the biggest learning curve for me. So I'll share for my scoop this episode that I feel like my family and I were really struggling recently, feeling very disconnected. There were lots of tantrums happening in my home. I was just crashing out way more than is typical for me. Very overstimulated, very angry. I felt myself like just losing my cool more often than I wanted to. My regular coping skills weren't working. My partner was feeling burnt out at work. I was feeling burnt out at work. And we were like, what do we need? And so at the core, we needed that connection. We needed to come back together as a family. And for me, I needed to like touch grass. I needed to get outside. I work remote. I work from home. I'm home with my youngest all day, every day. I have very little like face-to-face connection with people and very little time outside. We needed a vacation, and we're lucky enough to be able to go on a vacation. So we went to Big Bend National Park. I got to touch grass. We got to spend time with one another, like forcibly disconnected. Going somewhere without cell service is like the best thing that can happen to a person right now. And we were like, we're lucky we had each other, we were safe, but like could not speak to other people, could not doom scroll.
It's a weird
and
feeling.
It's a very weird feeling. Like I felt very naked at first.
And that is, life used to be that way.
Yes.
I have existed.
Yes.
I have existed in the world that way and become so disconnected from it that when I'm feeling it, I'm like, am I okay?
And I'm like reaching into my pocket for a brick that does nothing. Like we had them on us for pictures, and I'm so grateful we have like some of these amazing pictures, but like otherwise they were useless, and it was amazing. And just hearing like being able to have conversations under the stars, being able to see the kids, like just spending an hour playing in mud, like in ways that it just reminded me of like playing in a creek as a kid. And we just like, their world is so different than how we grew up now. But I feel like we were able to give them that. And that felt so invigorating as a parent. And so like my nervous system is chilled out. My daughter was expressing like the most pure form of gratitude. Like, thank you for taking us on this trip. Thank you for spending time with me. And I'm just like bawling in the front seat of the car, like finally feeling like I'm doing something right. And then yesterday, we come home and there's this like re-entry into society, basically. I was like my phone's blowing up, all this stuff. And I finally realized like, I don't have to go to Big Bend in order to have these kinds of experiences. I can turn off my phone. I can walk away from it. I can make time to get outside more. I can prioritize. And those are things that are within my control. So I feel like I needed that like reminder, like that jerk that I can do these things and that it matters to me and to my family and to our well-being. And so the scoop right now is that I'm going to try, and we might not be able to go on a trip every year, but we can go to our backyard, we can go to the park, and I can leave my phone behind. I don't need it. And it's hard to say that without shame. It's hard to not feel like the worst person in the world, to be like, it was so hard to be without my phone. But it is. Like our entire society operates around our devices. You need them to do this. You need them to do that. You need them. But to parent, I don't need it. Yeah. So that's felt really, really good coming back from.
All right. Do we want to go into our next segment?
Yeah. So our next segment is about positive masculinity.
Yes.
And how it shows up in our lives and who are embodying it right now.
And I kind of want to touch on like why we're doing this.
Go for it.
Because I think it is so important to just say out loud, because this podcast is meant to uplift women and celebrate women, because I think that there is absolutely a need to do that, right? Yeah. Like we need to be doing that for each other. I would say that in my experience of being confronted regularly and acknowledging being confronted regularly with the patriarchy, it's very easy to turn that into hating men. And you know what? I have to admit, I don't hate men. It took me a while to separate that.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to be like, I don't hate men. I hate the patriarchy. And for me, so I'm saying this because as a Libra rising, I'm well aware that this segment could receive some criticism because it's like, if you're a feminist podcast, if you're speaking for marginalized communities, why are we celebrating men? However, it is honest to God for myself. And if it is for myself, I know it is for other women out there too, or other people out there too. I am not ever going to join the argument, but not all men. Yes. I'm not going to do it because we can go into that, but I'm not going to use that argument. What I will say is that if we do not recognize the men who are doing good, who are adding to the world, who are actively working against toxic masculinity and embracing positive masculinity, then we don't get to see it.
Yeah.
I don't get to see it. I don't get to feel it. I'll live in a world where I feel like I hate men, and I don't. Two of my best friends are men. And, they're not perfect because, we've talked about this. They're not women, but I love them dearly.
Yeah.
And I do say that in humor. Like, I love them so much. But I need to be reminded, and I need to be reminded frequently and regularly, that there are really wonderful men out there. And some of them we're married to.
Yep.
Some of them are our best friends. Some of them are brothers. Some of them you see every day. Some of them, like, I hope that we'll talk about celebrities and people that are, kind of recognized.
Yeah.
But I think it's a space for us to just recognize the people in our life as well.
Absolutely.
And this is to help you maybe kind of see it in your own life as well. Because I think it is hard. It is hard, and we are confronted more and more with the toxic side and with the pressured side.
Yes. I'll add too that the patriarchy has negatively impacted men as well. Like, as a feminist,
there's a movie about that.
I feel the need to acknowledge, like, there is a deep wound within, like, with men that, like, the patriarchy has instilled in them, the idea that they can't be vulnerable, the idea, this, like, boys don't cry, like, all of those harmful narratives and ideas have come from the patriarchy and just like permeated male culture, for so long, that this segment also helps us to acknowledge, like, the patriarchy hurts men too.
Yes.
And we have to do better by the next generation and the generation that follows, so that we can hopefully heal some of the wounds that it's caused and break the cycle of toxic masculinity. And I think the men that we're going to talk about will do that.
But I don't want to get too much into, like, what is a man, but as much as, like, that there are men out there who it's like, oh yeah, you are a person and you are navigating things as well. And thank you for showing up in a positive way that's helping us all. So yeah. So who's going to be our first?
Oh my gosh.
What are we calling this? This is
Daily Dose.
Yes.
Your daily dose of healthy masculinity.
Yes. I love it.
I do too. Okay.
Because I need it. I need this dose.
Just a good tablespoon of healthy man.
I kind of hate that right now.
I do too. I wish I never said it. We're going to talk about people's sexiest man alive, Jonathan Bailey.
Yeah.
But Jonathan Bailey brings so much more to the table than his slutty little glasses.
Oh my God. But
those slutty little glasses.
No, you know what? This is why we have so much to talk about.
I know.
I've been in love with slutty little glasses since I was a very young girl.
They're very slutty. They're for a very good reason.
But I feel like this, like, phenomenon has happened where it's like suddenly people are talking about slutty little glasses. When I was a very young girl, I wrote down, like, what I wanted in my future husband, and I literally wrote down that I wanted him to wear glasses, but not all the time.
Oh.
I wanted him to, like,
the take off glasses moment.
Yeah, actually it's the put on.
Oh.
I know.
Oh my God.
I want you to put the glasses
Let
on.
me read you like
I know,
a
and
book.
I'm like, oh, like,
now you can see me.
Please wear the slutty little glasses. But even young, I feel like, and I think it's the duality of both, right? Like you have, like, I don't know. glasses make you look smarter.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you are. I wear glasses too, sometimes. But actually I need them all the time.
I'm blind.
I am blind, but I love slutty glasses, and slutty glasses equals you don't wear them all the time.
Yeah.
You pull them out when you want to look extra slutty. But yes, I am a fan of the slutty little glasses.
Yeah,
I just had
me
to say
too.
that.
I'm glad you did. I'm here for it. The thing that I'm thinking about right now is something that I shared on my Instagram like maybe 2 days ago. He did a segment with Sesame Street. Shout out to Sesame Street, PBS Kids. It's my babysitter.
Yeah.
Where he and Elmo basically did like a mindful moment together in a park. And he talked about just taking a moment and the idea that there is a person out there for young people to look up to that is encouraging them to take a pause and take a deep breath and to be in nature. He's wearing like a soft purple sweater. He wraps his arm around Elmo in just a very soft way that I think in particular young men, little boys will look up to and see that it is okay to be a grown-up and be soft. And it is okay to be a grown man and to be soft. And this is someone that looks like me who is taking a moment to breathe and be with themselves. And I don't think that there's been a figure like that for young men for a very, very long time. So I was so happy to see that. I was so happy to see Sesame Street continue to slay it and just like be there in a way for kids that like no other, TV show is doing.
Is he the first openly gay sexiest man alive?
That I don't know. Maybe. I feel like now that you say that, I saw an Instagram headline about it, but I'm not 100% sure.
I feel like if he is, then that's also...
That's also...
And is that him or is that society kind of like a positive...
Accepting, being ready for it.
That a gay man can be the sexiest man alive.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
actually, yeah, that is playing into my like... we can all have a crush. Like maybe Jonathan Bailey is teaching more people you can have a crush on a man that you are never going to have sex with. Like
Exactly.
he doesn't want you, but it's okay that you like want him.
Yeah. So tell me about after we take our daily dose of healthy masculinity, typically what we'll do is dive a little bit deeper into the topic of the episode.
Yes.
And we're even going to bring on some guests to talk about our topics too. So tell me more about that.
Yeah. So I think that ultimately this is going to be about uplifting women, and a part of that is going to be interviewing real women that are doing positive work in the community, or, you know, I mean, really, yeah, in the community.
Yeah.
It's just a different definition of what does that community look like. Is it like our local community? Is it the community of people who identify as a woman? Is it like government, politics? And so finding these stories where women have gone through or celebrate other women, we want to celebrate them.
Yes, yes.
But I don't think every episode will have a guest because we're just so multifaceted. Like,
Yes.
we contain multitudes, and some things I want to talk about. We are not going to have time for a guest because I have shit to say.
Yes.
I have shit to say, and I am obsessed with like gaining knowledge. And I think that's been my favorite part so far is picking topics that I think are relevant and really diving in and learning as much as I can about them and sharing them with you, sharing them with my community, sharing them here. I'm not saying like I know so much. I'm saying that I have so much I care about that I want to share, and I think it's a good space to do that. So I'm excited to both celebrate topics that I think matter to me and the people I'm around, and therefore I hope other people as well.
Yeah.
But also, again, to just celebrate other people. So we'll like go into interviews, kind of talk about their journey, what they have to offer, what that looks like, how they navigated being a woman in certain contexts or environments. But I also want to say, we've got a list of things we want to talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like our first year is
Easily.
pretty well mapped out on topics that we want to explore. But that being said, we are flowing. We're learning. What is this going to look like? What does our community bring? So I do want people to find us and interact with us and leave comments like, What are you enjoying? What do you want to know more about? What are things we've said that you're like, oh, I wish you'd do a deep dive on that? Lots of exciting stuff in the future, but totally open and interested in what do we want to talk about? What do you want to hear about?
Yeah. I think it's really beautiful that, you know, we kind of started this space for us.
Yes.
But it is for all of us,
yes.
ultimately.
That's what we want.
Yes.
Yeah. I really would love to see it get to that point.
Me too. So. I would really love to see a community of people that are here to uplift one another, here to learn, and here to talk about the things that light their fires, you know?
And here to talk about all the different things.
All of it.
You know, like that's the thing. I want to accept all the parts of myself, and I want other people to not feel like you have to be in a box. And that was hard coming up with a podcast where it was like, what's your niche? I'm like, are you kidding me? My niche is that I am all. I am all expansive and everything is important to me. Everything, like I enjoy most things. I want to explore most things. I want to talk about most things. And at the end of the day, I had to like sit with myself and be like, what's important to me? And I was like, it is literally all a part of myself. And where in my life do I get to be all parts of myself?
Yes. Here.
Right here. This is the place.
Yeah.
So like what is like bringing you life right now?
Oh my gosh, what is bringing me life right now? This is so silly. Polling data is bringing me life right now. I'm really into looking at how like political polling is building and like shaping the narrative around how the U.S. like political landscape is changing and evolving. And I'm really particularly interested in the data from the exit polls from the 2025 election that like could inform the 2026 election. So this is directly related to my work, but I'm also just like super personally motivated and excited by some of the data that's coming in from folks that have participated in elections, particularly those who have not participated in elections before and are getting involved now. So if you are a data nerd like me, send me your sources because I am like hungry for more all the time.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm a data geek, but I'm not really familiar with like polling data. So that's exciting. And I'm actually interested to learn more from you about that. But yeah, that's really, I love it.
Maybe we'll do an episode on it.
I mean, we probably should because I actually don't totally understand it. I'm just going to be transparent with you. I'm like, sounds like something I should probably be more familiar with. But that's exciting. I am actually feeling really lucky that you said that because I'm going with the easy one. It's this.
Yes.
Like this podcast, this passion project has been my light during an otherwise murky time. It's not been a bad time. It's been an important time.
Yeah.
But sometimes those times of growth and like it's work. It's work. My work is work right now. My personal life is work right now. Everything feels really hard, but in the like I'm growing kind of way.
Yeah.
And this project has felt like the reason. Like, and I do think I'm a creative person, but I've never described myself as an artist. I've always been like, I just appreciate art, but I'm not creative, and that's not true. I am creative.
Yeah.
And so this is the first time in my life that I have allowed myself, well, besides dancing. So dance is a creative outlet for me. But I think that this is the first time in my life that I'm allowing a project that's kind of tightly woven to work.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've talked about trying to find the balance in work and pleasure for this and just letting it be pleasure, letting it be joyful and letting it be something that feels really positive and beautiful in my life. So when I'm having a hard time and I'm like, oh my gosh, things are hard, I'm like, yeah, but then I get together with my best friend and like,
Yes.
But talk about things with depth and meaning and that's important. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's where I wanted to make sure we hit those things.
Nice.
But yeah. All right. So now what are we doing moving forward? And where can people find us? I think this is
Okay, so what we're doing moving forward is a lot more of this, a lot more intentional yapping about things that light our fires, things that we're excited about. We want to hear from y'all, like Malin said, about what you're interested in, about what you think we should talk about, things that you want to learn or things that you want to share. These are, like we said, 2 perspectives, so we want to hear your stories. You can reach us via email at 2, spelt out the word TWO, Leo Moons, 2025 at gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Leo Moons. And we're just here. We're ready.
And whatever platform you're listening on,
Yes.
subscribe.
Absolutely.
Feel free to comment.
Yeah. Like it, share it, please. If you feel so inclined, maybe there's a person in your life that some of this stuff might resonate with. But we're really just excited to see where this goes. Regardless, like no matter what, we'll be here. You know, we're going to keep doing this because we love it. And I think our hope is just that we find other people that love it too.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm so excited for
Me
it.
too.
So yeah, thank you for joining us. I'm so glad that we have this space now.
I know. I love you.
We did a great job.
We did.